Picture this for a second. Over 5 billion people around the globe are watching. The streets, completely empty. Offices are dead quiet. Entire nations are basically holding their collective breath as 22 players chase a single ball across a field. Every 4 years, the World Cup becomes way more than just a sporting event, right? It becomes this massive global celebration, a stage where absolute legends are born. But, for a lot of viewers, especially if you're kind of new to the sport, the game can seem a bit confusing. So welcome to this explainer. We're going to decode the laws, the drama, and the sheer magic of football together.
Okay, let's dive right into this roadmap. We'll kick things off with the basics of play, then move on to mastering the rules. After that, we'll look at surviving the group stage, step into the knockout pressure cooker, and finally, wrap it all up with the World Cup magic.
First up, Section 1, the basics of play, covering the core match experience.
We're going to start with the really granular details here on the pitch, because as you'll see, the simplicity of the beautiful game actually hides some deeply complex strategy. So, the basics. 2 teams, 11 players each. That's 1 goalkeeper and 10 outfield players. The main objective? Just score more goals than the other guys before the clock runs out. Now, what's fascinating is how you're actually allowed to move the ball around. You're mostly using your feet, obviously, but your chest, your head, thighs, shoulders, those are all perfectly legal to use. The one huge rule? Hands are strictly, absolutely off limits. Only the goalkeeper can use their hands, and even then, only inside their specific penalty area.
So how long does a game actually take? A standard match has 4 phases. You've got a 45-minute first half, a 15-minute halftime break to catch your breath, and a 45-minute second half. But, actually scratch that, it rarely ends at exactly 90 minutes. That brings us to Step 4, stoppage time. Referees actively add time onto the end of the half to make up for delays, things like injuries, substitutions, or those wild goal celebrations. Lately, officials have been super strict about adding this lost time back. So don't be surprised if the clock says 96 or 97 minutes before you finally hear that whistle blow.
Now, let's talk about actually scoring. Sounds simple, right? Just kick it in. But the physics of it are incredibly strict. The entire ball literally has to cross the entire goal line. If even a tiny fraction of that ball is just hovering over the line, no goal. To get this absolutely perfect, the modern game uses goal line technology. These high-speed cameras track the ball and instantly buzz a special watch right on the referee's wrist. Boom. No guessing, no shouting matches. Just instant scientific confirmation.
Let's move to Section 2, Mastering the Rules, looking at the rules of engagement.
All right, let's tackle football's most famous, and let's be honest, most misunderstood rule. Let's demystify the offside rule slowly here. Basically, an attacking player is offside if they are closer to the opponent's goal line than both the ball and the second-last defender. But here's the critical part. It only counts at the exact moment the ball is passed to them. Standing there isn't illegal. The offense only happens when you actively get involved in the play from that spot. Why do we even have this? Because it stops players from just camping out by the net waiting for an easy tap-in. It forces teams to actually use timing, intelligence, and real teamwork to break through the defense.
Of course, football is super physical. Players are pushing, tackling, charging. But when someone crosses the line, like tripping a guy or just recklessly running into them, the ref calls a foul and awards a free kick. There are 2 flavors here. With a direct free kick, you can absolutely blast the ball straight at the goal. But with an indirect free kick, the ball has to touch at least one other player first before it can legally go in the net. These free kicks are huge. They create some of the most iconic, game-changing moments, from crazy long-range rockets to those perfect, curling shots that bend right over a wall of defenders.
To keep all that aggression in check, referees use a strict card system. A yellow card? That's basically a firm warning for things like bad sportsmanship, wasting time, or just fouling too much. But the red card? Oh man, that is an immediate dismissal. If a player gets violent or purposely denies an obvious goal-scoring chance, they are out of there. The kicker here is that a red card means your team plays the rest of the game with only 10 guys. At the World Cup level, being down a man is a total game changer. It can literally crush championship dreams in a second.
Look, these players are running several miles in a single match, so the physical toll is just massive, and that's exactly why substitutions are vital. Managers can swap out players during the game to bring in fresh legs, lock down their defense if they're winning, turn up the attacking heat if they're losing, or pull someone who's injured. Some subs have become absolute legends simply by coming off the bench and scoring the winning goal literally minutes later.
Moving on to Section 3, Surviving the Group Stage and the Tournament Matrix.
Okay, so now that we know what's happening down on the grass, let's zoom out a bit.
Let's look at the math you need to actually survive the first part of the World Cup. It kicks off with a group stage where everybody in a group plays each other. Points dictate everything here. You get 3 points for a win, 1 point if you tie, and absolutely 0 for a loss. The top teams move on, and the rest, they pack their bags. Sometimes it all comes down to a single solitary point, which makes every single match a totally high-stakes calculation.
But what if two teams end up with the exact same points? Well, we go to tiebreakers. And this brilliantly illustrates the biggest one, goal difference. Let's say Team A scored 10 goals total but let in 5. That's a goal difference of +5. Team B scored 7 and let in 4, so they're at +3. Team A ranks higher, simple as that. This math is the exact reason why you'll see a team winning 3-0 and they are still aggressively trying to score. In this matrix, every single goal is absolutely crucial.
Next up, Section 4, the knockout pressure cooker.
Once we're out of the groups, the whole vibe just accelerates. The tone shifts. The tension goes through the roof. No more second chances. You win, you advance. You lose, you go home. It's basically this giant, shrinking funnel. You start with the round of 32, cut it down to 16, then the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and finally the ultimate stage, the final. Every match is a pure survival test. Think about it. Years of grueling preparation by an entire country can be instantly ruined by just one bad pass.
So what happens if one of these massive knockout games is tied up after 90 minutes? We go to extra time. That means a 15-minute first period followed by a 15-minute second period. 30 grueling minutes of extra play. Imagine the absolute exhaustion. Guys are dealing with burning lungs, full body cramps, and their focus is totally fading. Yet somehow, pushing through that wall of exhaustion gives us some of the most dramatic, unforgettable goals in the history of the sport.
And if they are still tied after 120 agonizing minutes, it all comes down to one single number: 5, the penalty shootout. Each team gets 5 kicks from exactly 12 yards away. It's just the shooter, the goalkeeper, and a whole lot of glory on the line. The pressure here is honestly insane. Imagine the hopes, the dreams, literally the prayers of a whole nation resting on one single kick of a ball. And if it's tied after 5 kicks, sudden death. They keep going until one team scores and the other misses.
Finally, Section 5, the World Cup magic. Let's zoom all the way out to look at the modern game as this huge cultural phenomenon. Now, you really can't talk about modern football without bringing up VAR, the Video Assistant Referee. VAR uses a ton of high-tech cameras to help refs review big decisions on screens. They check goals, penalties, direct red cards, and even stuff like mistaken identity. Now, I'll be honest, this sparks some wildly passionate debates among fans. Some people firmly believe it makes the game way fairer, ensuring the right call gets made. But others, they argue it totally kills the natural flow and the raw, spontaneous emotion of the match. Wherever you stand on it, though, VAR is definitely here to stay in the modern World Cup.
But getting past the specific rules, the VAR screens, the tactics, why does this tournament captivate us so much? Well, because the World Cup is not merely about football. It is about humanity gathering around a shared experience. That's the real takeaway from this explainer. This event crosses languages, it crosses borders. We all tune in to watch massive underdogs take down absolute giants. We watch unknown players become global icons overnight, and we see generations of families huddled around living room screens together.
Which leaves us with this final, truly provocative thought to mull over. How might 90 minutes change a life, a nation, and sometimes even the world? Next time you sit down to watch a match, armed with all this new knowledge about the tactics, the rules, and the unbelievable pressure these players face, just remember, you aren't merely watching people chase a ball. You are literally watching the next chapter of human history unfold. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep learning.